Roadhouse is sponsored by Finley River Towing in Ozark and Branson, Missouri. They'll tow anything from Springfield all the way down to Harrison, Arkansas. Speedy's Industrial Coatings. They do media blasting, powder coating, all sorts of stuff. Big or small, they do it all at Speedy's in Ozark, Missouri. Forbes Tire in Paragould, Arkansas. They'll take care of big tires, small tires, any tires you need. Tractor tires, anything you need, call Forbes Tire. And JS Off-Road Addict. They do passenger cars, trucks, Jeeps, buggies, UTVs, ATVs, small engines. They'll do anything you got. They're doing my LS swap, doing all sorts of custom stuff to my Jeep. Upgrades, recoveries. If you're at S'more and you're breakdown out there, give them a call, JS Off-Road Addict. And one more thing, if you're heading out to S'more next year from March all the way out to Thanksgiving of 2024, give JS Off-Road a call if you need to rent anything to drive out there on the park. They've got Jeeps and side-by-sides to rent for S'more. Today on the Roadhouse, we're going to get a lot of the maintenance done. We're going to try to spend a whole day today on maintenance. I may break it up in small parts for the other videos, but this video right here is going to be, I'm going to say that this is going to be about 65% of the maintenance that should be done on your Duramax. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not doing the fuel filter today, but I've said that I say that several times in the video, and there's a lot of other things that can be done. Checking your tie rods, your steering dampener. There's a ton of stuff that can be done as well. So let me correct myself and say that this is going to be between 60 and 65% of the maintenance that needs to be done on your Duramax diesel. Let's get this video started. I'm not going to go in any particular order here, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to want to check on your rig as well. But here's the get-go as far as Roadhouse here. Check your belts. You want to make sure they're not cracked, frayed, anything like that. You want to make sure that there's no pitting or big chunks out of it. Make sure your belts are good. Next, power steering fluid, brake fluid. You're going to check your coolant reservoir over there. I think I've got a leak somewhere, so I'm thinking I'm going to be checking for that too. Want to check your oil, of course, but I'm changing my oil. Transmission fluid, I'm going to change the filter here in a second, and then I'm going to check the fluid here, so we're going to do that as well. All this heavy weight over here is going to be removed, even though it's blocked. We're going to do a lot of stuff today, so let's get this started. No particular order here, people. So the first thing we're going to do today, just because my bucket is going to stay as clean as possible for as long as possible, and this is the cleanest thing, we're going to run through it. So, Air Dog. These are the filters for the lift pump. So you want to make sure that you get this started. You want to make sure you replace these things. The person that had my rig before, I asked him if he had a lift pump on his rig before I bought it, and he said no. Well, then I crawled underneath the vehicle, and sure enough, there was an Air Dog lift pump underneath there. So you want to make sure that these things get cleaned. You never know what the previous person had in it, and I will tell you this, that guy owned the vehicle for 3 years. So these were not changed for 3 years. Now, I would like to move this system onto the other side of the frame, and I'll probably do a video where I do that, but I'm not going to do it today. The reason why I want it on the other side of the frame, closer to the outside of the frame, is so I can change it quicker. Get the water out of this more periodic. There we go. I'm just going to drop this thing down in there and put some oil on the rings, and I'm going to let this thing fill up. And when it does, I'm going to go ahead and put it back on. Oh, there we go. Now you only want to put these on hand tight. You don't want to go crazy with these. Just I was able to take those off after they've been on here for 3 years without being changed from the previous owner. I was able to take the other one off. So you don't want to get crazy with these things. There we go. It's kind of weird, but they're about at the same angle when you get it tightened up, as tight as you can by hand. So there you go. You do get rid of a little bit of fuel. The quicker you can, if you already have the filters full of fuel, it might be a little bit quicker so you don't waste as much fuel out down here. But there you go. Your Duramax won't have a lift pump unless you put it on there. And what the lift pump does is it saves your fuel system. Those fuel pumps that are in the front of your rig, they cost a lot. And if they implode on some C4s, then you want to make sure that this has got a C3, but you want to make sure that you prolong the life of that sucker because they're not cheap. The next thing we're going to do is the transmission outside filter. It's the spin-on filter on bottom. And I wanted to get an AC Delco, I wanted to get an Allison, but they did not come in time, and I wanted to get this done as soon as possible. So I got a Dox, and I will be changing this in about 30,000 miles. So docks. Now, a lot of people say that these things can run as long as the truck runs, but I wouldn't guarantee any of that, especially if you've not owned your vehicle. Now, does your vehicle go down dirt roads? If you do, if it has, go ahead and change that thing. Your only insurance is maintenance. Everything that I'm putting on, I am putting oil around the gasket here and the threading here. So this happens on everything that I'm doing on this rig that has threads or a gasket. Pretty nasty here, but we're going to try to get it off without anything. All right, I'm breaking it loose. All right, gonna get my bucket. Should have worn my gloves. There we go, hand tight. Do not over tighten it. Now we're going to check the fluid level here in a little bit, but here's where it's at right here. I'm going to check all the fluids at once at the very end. We have to warm up the truck anyway. All right, here is on the transmission dipstick. It does say cold here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it's filled up at least to the cold line. So for the fluid that we dropped in the bucket. So let's try this out. It is halfway between the cold and the hot. So I'm not even going to mess with it. I don't think we lost enough fluid in order to make a difference. At least for this try. We'll try again when I get the vehicle hot. You're going to check all these fluids before you finish. All right, we're getting ready to knock off two things off of my little shelf here for the truck. We're going to use the Shell Rotella T6 synthetic. It takes 11 because I'm putting the PPE extended sucker in here, the oil filter. That way I can get an extra quart out of it, and I won't have to change my oil as much as well. I got this off of Amazon, and it came basically, I almost got one 5-quart jug for free. Maybe for about $6 instead of the 25 to 35, depending on where you buy it. So it's a little bit cheaper off of Amazon, especially if you're going to be filling up this big old sucker. It's 15W40. As I am cleaning out the bucket that I'm going to use in order to get all of the oil out of the truck, because I want to look at the oil after it's over, and I want to make sure that nothing that I had inside of it, which I don't know if you can see that, there's dirt and a little bit of grime in there, and there's fuel from when I just did the thing before, so I want to make sure there's no fuel in it for sure. So clean out your bucket. I do have an oil bucket type thing that I use. It's normal for normal cars, but this thing takes so much oil, I don't want to have you look at my shop floor in oil instead of orange. Now I'm going to run this over a few times because I still smell fuel in here. I'm going to make sure I get everything out of it. One thing you might want to do is take your oil cap off in order to make it flow faster. 16 millimeter for the oil drain plug. Just break it loose. It's a good idea to put a magnetic sucker in here. I'm going to see if there's any metal shavings on the end of this, but this is not a magnetic one. I'll end up getting one for my next oil change. So far everything looks good. Of course, this is the first time I'm doing any changes on this truck. That's why I'm going to go so severe. I am most likely going to speed this up. You do not want to see all this. While the oil is draining, and before we put on that nice big ass PPE oil filter with the extra quart involved in it, I want to tell you that I got a lot more parts coming in. So if you see the prime truck coming in behind me or whatever that, he's dropping off glow plugs and some other stuff. There may be more maintenance going on before I get this video done. Now, when you dump all this, you're going to want to make sure you're going to want to look through the fluid. You want to see how thick it is. You want to see if there's any discoloration in the oil. You want to make sure that there's no metal shavings in the oil. You want to check your oil every time you change it. It's a lot better to do it yourself, because those people that you know, at Walmart or wherever you're getting your oil change, they're not going to be caring whether or not you have metal shavings in there. Very few of them are actually going to care. All right, I'm going to let this drain all the way down to nothing here. It's going to take a while. Oh, while the oil is still draining, I'm going to go over some stuff that I normally use. Now, this right here, I use this in every tank. 1 little freaking ounce. I also use 1 ounce of Mr. Oil, which I don't have right in here right now. But this I use once a year. It's Diesel Extreme. I put in a quarter for 4 tanks in the spring every year. And I replaced this with a green one. So you might always want to have a green cap in case somebody borrows your rig. If you fill this with regular fuel, gasoline, whatever, you're going to have some serious issues and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So I would go ahead and get a green cap. That way, hopefully, the person that borrows your rig, if you let anybody borrow it, will make sure that they put diesel in it. Or at least they're looking at it like, why on earth is there a green cap? And maybe they'll think. Okay, as far as brake fluid, I am putting .3 back in it when I get the new brake lines, because they came in wrong. I'm going to put .3 back in it until I get the rear stainless steel brake lines, because I'm going to do everything once again at the very end. I'll go ahead and put the .4 in. Here's one thing I haven't discussed before. Go ahead and get all those zerks. Everything that's underneath the truck, go ahead and get it. This. I'm actually going to try this out. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I bought my truck from a chicken farmer. And I have shampooed the thing out twice. And I still smell chicken poop. So I'm going to try this. If not, I'm going to yank the carpet out of that truck and start there. And put new carpet in. I got the tire sensors in as well, so I'm going to try that. That's going to be a project that we're going to do today. I don't know if we'll get to the remote keyless entry. I got 2 more remotes, and I think this comes with keys. Going to go ahead and make sure that the top off the transmission fluid there. And I got these right here. These are silver, which they match my front of my truck. This is these D-ring shackle kits in silver, which match my truck. So I'm going to put one of these or two of these on the front of my rig. Another thing you guys should look at doing is getting one of these little books off of Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description. But you can do everything on earth in here, as it says. It has a lot of room to write and stuff like that. So you can go ahead and get all your maintenance writing. So you can get all your maintenance written down. I would pay a lot more money for a rig that had one of these books with it than if it didn't. And these are cheap. I mean, I think they're $5. So go ahead and get you one of these books. And FYI, I have one of these books for everything. Everything. Of course, I'm going to run the threads through the oil as well, the new oil. Finger tight it. We'll wipe it down here. Now, I'm not doing this very tight now, y'all. Heck, I didn't even do it probably an eighth of a turn. Next, we got our PPE installation here for this 5 microns. Our 5 micron filtration system here, and it's going to help us hold an extra quart. So also along the gasket and the threads, put the oil on it. All right, here it is, up here underneath the driver's side firewall. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this off without a tool here. It's a CarQuest one that's on here. Now I'm going to let this drain. I'm also going to clean up around it. It's all in there. No adapters needed. Good to go. Extra quart. 11 quarts of oil now in your full synthetic Shell Rotella T6 15W40. You can use all sorts of different oils. I would use AMS oil, but I just don't want to pay for it. And I found a really good deal on this. And until all the little bugs are worked out of the rig, I want to go ahead and use the Rotella. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever at all. I would rather use the AMS oil, but I'm not worried about it. Let that sit there for a minute. Get my next one. Look underneath the rig. Make sure that there's no dripping of any sort. All right, if you've been following me, we have got 8 quarts. Since 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, we've got some more quarts to put in here. So we've got 8 quarts in there. We need 3 more. So I'm going to kind of go slow on this and just check the dipstick several times because I don't want to overfill it. Let that run down into the engine, and then I'm going to go ahead and check the dipstick. All right, you got it. All right, back to your oil. You want to make sure that it's not like water or stuff in your oil, fuel in your oil. Smell it. Doesn't smell like there's any fuel in there. You want to check it for shavings when you pour it into your recycling container. So, looks good so far. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get in here, wipe out the oil change to make it 100%. Then I'm going to write everything down in my little book here, my vehicle maintenance log book. And the reason why we didn't do a fuel filter today was because the fuel filter is at 97% on this truck. So I have a lot more cleaning to do on the truck. Heck, I may end up needing a new steering wheel. But I need a lot of stuff done on this truck, so we're going to be showing you a lot of videos regarding this rig. After that, go ahead and start the rig up. Let it get to temperature. Check your transmission fluid and your oil again. Sorry about the shop, it's a mess. Been moving a lot of my Duramax stuff in, and it's a mess. As I'm finding in this Duramax, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know, so I'm kind of feeling my way through it as far as the maintenance goes. I'm afraid I'm going to start some sort of crazy firestorm, but what other maintenance do you do periodically or whatever, yearly or whatever? Tell me the year. Tell me if it's yearly, monthly. Tell me what you do as far as maintenance on your Duramax. Thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing, and as always, if you ride her hard, don't put her away wet. One more thing. Expect a lot more videos regarding the Duramax diesel on safety, maintenance, all sorts of stuff. Thank you all for watching.